Hi, Leo. Okay, we are going to talk about your personal creative style and amplify whatever it is that's already working for you and maybe figure out a way together how to mitigate any challenges or obstacles that you find frustrating. And then we'll pull a Story World Oracle card for you to keep you inspired and keep you motivated. Okay, so you are a fixed sign. Leo, you're a fire sign and you are governed by the sun. You all tend to be really happy go lucky, pretty attractive people. I don't think I've ever met an unattractive Leo in my life. I can't think of a single one that doesn't have something going for him. And I mean like leading man, leading woman, leading any gender, attractive, So you all tend to have classic good looks and you're very charming and you have really good taste in pretty much any material possessions that you have your eye on. You have really good taste. So you tend to be really well dressed, sharp dressers, and just cool, for the most part. And you all tend to be visionaries. You actually make my favorite astrologers out of anybody because you're big vision people, you're big idea people, and you love playing make believe. And you govern that fifth house in the zodiac of romance, creative self expression, and play. So when you guys like to play kick the can intellectually and creatively, oh, you're really indefatigable. Really, the only one who can keep up with you at that point is either a Gemini or a Sag. And you tend to thrive in longer form writing on a single topic for years, or world building on a single subject or a single world for like years and years and years. And when you get going, you all's books are like the size of a loaf of bread. It's when you find your special interest, it's over with, So really there are only two things Leos have to worry about as artists. Because you're big vision people, you tend to be way ahead of your time, sometimes years. And in that sense, Leos can get frustrated because people aren't always picking up what you're putting down in the moment. And that means you will need to find at least one workshop buddy, a playmate, or a sparring partner to talk to on a regular basis so you won't get upset that you're not famous just yet. um, and even if you do have any kind of celebrity or you're well known in your community for something, which most Leos typically are, if you decide to enhance what it is that you're doing or try something new or tackle, a new area or break your level, if you're so far ahead of everybody else, people might still just be catching up to the basic concept. And I know that that's pretty frustrating. And sometimes it takes a lot of convincing for people, which can be really dejecting to a Leo's ego, to their pride, like, have you met me? I'm Leo. You kind of look at people like, are you, y'all, what are y'all on? Like, this is revolutionary. And it might be, and you will forget that it's always new to somebody because as a fire signs are impulse driven and they tend to rely on immediate gratification to get some feels. So it can make you all a little huffy if people aren't recognizing your genius right then in that moment. That's okay. Just keep going. If you have one person you can hang out with and talk to about your ideas while you're in process, that is really my suggestion, is to find a workshop buddy. Like somebody would have a workout buddy that they go to the gym with. You guys need a workshop buddy. You need a world building workshop buddy to keep it moving. So you have somebody to kind of like show off for. The other thing you all have to watch out for, Leo, is that you all don't really like dealing with the minutia of editing and actually getting the work out there. You work so hard on the content, you feel kind of like the work should sell itself. So you're going to have to be patient with yourself and the process. And remember that, again, you're often ahead of your time and you create work that are that's total game changers. Okay. So, look no further than somebody like J.K. Rowling, who's a Leo, and whatever you have to say about her views, her bigotry, um, the fact that they're doing a reboot of Harry Potter so soon. She's still alive, and it's only been 11 years since the end of the last one, right? Something like that. Um, on HBO, the fact that she's still dominating social media because of all the content creators who benefit off of Harry Potter memes and playing dress up and going to the Wizarding World, visit the Wizarding World, excuse me. She's really kind of undeniable in that she's become part of the tapestry of humanity. So once people once people pick up what you're putting down, you guys tend to create worlds that are built to last. You know, Barack Obama, Charles Bukowski, James Baldwin. You know, those are some names, those are some luminaries who are just undeniable and unforgettable. And like I said, they changed the game. So your Story World Oracle card that you all got was the Miracle card. And that is divine intervention erupts as a sudden eucatastrophe. So moving forward, when you will create a eucatastrophe is when something goes completely in your favor, but you kind of prepared for it, or you are prepared for it, is what they say. There's no such thing as luck. There's only opportunity met with preparation. A good example of a eucatastrophe is in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf is sort of stranded up there in the middle of nowhere after fighting Saruman, and he whispers to the little moth, and then later on he leaps off the tower and he's on the back of a giant bird. You know, that's a eucatastrophe moment. So creating the world that you, or whatever creative project you're working on, leaving a little room in there for entropy. Like, you don't have to control every single aspect of what's happening in your world. Sometimes you can just let something cook. Do you know what I mean? And just allow a little bit of that chaos energy, allow a little room in there for just you to not necessarily know what's going to happen with it, is my suggestion to you all. Just to kind of like, you know what, like, I don't have to predict. All I have to do is keep going. All I have to do is keep creating, and eventually I will meet the right audience. You know, maybe my audience hasn't even been born yet. I don't know. But the idea is that you should be prepared for an encounter or an interaction with somebody where they really want to get to know. They might really want to get to know what your special interest is, and what you're working on. And it's like, well, I just so happen to have a work sample on me right here. You know, and you whip your phone out, and it's like, and they're like, oh my God, you did all that? It's like, yeah. It's like, do you have any more? It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, do you think could you take a meeting? You know, do you think you could bring some of that down to my office? You know, and so that's, you have to be ready. You have to have the material ready, because when lightning strikes, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder. You want to be the kind of world builder or creator who, Madonna, that's another Leo, Viola Davis, Halle Berry. You know, you want to be able to have the kind of material that can withstand the test of time and makes you sought out because you are excellent at what you do, but you also have more where that came from. So just keep working and expect the miracle. The miracle will happen, but you don't necessarily have control over when that is. Your table flip moment, you know, where it's like, yeah, the universe steps in. It's like, okay, just have it locked and loaded, have it ready to go, because it's not if, it's when the miracle shows up. Okay? All right, guys, I hope you all found this useful, and I'll speak to you again soon.